Tonight, Charlotte cannot allow Busquets to get into rhythm. They cannot allow Busquets to have any kind of freedom of picking up his head, because on his head, he's got two eyes on the front. Mo, he's got two eyes behind his head that knows, it's almost as if there's a radar. When Messi's going, behind the head, it's like beep, 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 beep. He finds them every single time.
And it's almost comical because we have these pre-games, we talk about that, and yet he goes out and still executes in a way that teams just have not found an answer for. But I do agree with you, because when you look back at that game against Dallas, this team plays in a way that they surround the box when the ball gets wide. Both fullbacks are higher up the pitch. He's providing that maybe buffer at the top of the 18. So if you, in transition, can break that first line, he doesn't have the legs to get back. They're leaning on the likes of Arroyo. They're leaning on the likes of, in this match today, Cremaschi, to provide those legs to do some of that dirty running for him. But in possession, there's no one better than him at finding Messi in spaces and breaking line with passes to open up these games.
How much does it matter that Sergio Busquets can't maybe put in that work defensively when Miami has so many attacking options and weapons like Lionel Messi and a Josef Martinez that maybe we haven't seen fully break out yet alongside Lionel Messi and his new team?
I think the jury's out tonight.
Okay.
I do. I think Josef Martinez has to be really, really good. I think he's got to be more aggressive. I get it. He's not the Josef Martinez of Atlanta where he's going to run around with his head cut off for 90-plus minutes. I understand that. But he gave very little against FC Dallas. Very little. Now, he drew the penalty against Orlando City, but he didn't do a ton in that game either. He's got to be hungrier, more proactive, and that means in 10 to 15-yard spaces. Mo, I think Campana may be a better option. I think that's a real conversation for Tata Martino when this comes back. They got to get more from Josef Martinez. I know you agree with me, because immediately when the game ended in Dallas, you looked at me and said, where's Josef?
Yeah, and I love this player. I love Josef, and I love the first couple of games that we saw and the way that he looked to be reinvigorated. He had found maybe a new sense of life in terms of how he went about the pitch alongside Lionel Messi. But now you need to deliver.
Yep.
It's not just the excitement. I love the work rate that he brought in those first couple of games. But beyond the penalty kick, I like the layoff that he gave to Messi for the assist, but in that game against Dallas, where they faced some true adversity, where they faced, whether it's extreme conditions from the heat, they played against a team that knew how to press them in the right way, in a smart way. They limited his importance and his impact in the game. So tonight's another big opportunity for him. I agree with you. That man on the right-hand side, Leo Campana, when he came into that game against Dallas, he made an impact.
Yeah, because he's more of a target. He's more mobile, which also leads you to Cremaschi. I don't find that a surprise that Cremaschi's in the lineup, because Gomez looked to struggle. Cremaschi has a relationship with Josef. They've been here from the beginning. So Cremaschi also has more legs. He combines well. When Josef drops in and tries to play with Lionel, even at times Robert Taylor, he's going to provide a vertical threat to this. Now, I think there's a great argument here for Tata Martino that this guy, when they get back to MLS, he's your spark off the bench. Yet, the other signings haven't come in yet, so I may change my mind. But right now, with the way the roster is put together, I loved what I saw from Cremaschi against Dallas. I get what Tata Martino's thinking. We want him to come into the lineup, to play off of Josef Martinez. He's going to have a real good understanding with the veteran and Busquets. Just little touches here and there, getting into the pockets of space, but always playing in the pocket. Again, look at this example. How aggressive is Josef Martinez in these runs? Not enough for me. Combine, try to be dynamic. Get on Cremaschi. For an 18-year-old Mo, he's got a real good sense of when to make runs forward, when to get into the final third. Great goal against FC Dallas coming off the bench.
The thing that I like about him is he's continuing to grow. I think the first game against Cruz Azul, we were pretty harsh. We were critical of his performance because we had high expectations just based off the minimal minutes he's played in MLS so far. We forget sometimes that he's 18, and I say that as a compliment. When you look at young players and you're assessing young players and you have to remind yourself of their age, that means they're doing something right. I've seen a progression. I've seen a growth. I think him not getting the start last game, although Tata said this because he wanted to get fresh legs in there, I think that's so important when you manage young players. You give them an opportunity, you let them grow, you let them get their minutes, but then you still keep them humble. Yep. Show them that this is not a guarantee. Yes. This position is not locked up just yet. You got to make sure when you come into a game, you make an impact, and he did just that. 1 minute and 6 seconds into his roll off the bench, he scores a goal, Taylor.
I don't know about you guys, but he looks like a TikTok guy that just won the contest to play with Messi, doesn't he? He doesn't look like he belongs on the field, yet he does when the whistle blows. close.
He absolutely does, with a goal and a winning penalty last game against FC Dallas. For more on the 18-year-old Benjamin Cremaschi, down on the pitch to Katie Witham.
I think that Taylor, he might actually say he feels like that at times down here on the sideline. What I love most about Ben-Ha Cremaschi is not only what we see on the field, but the type of person that he is. But the Miami Herald had a fantastic feature piece on him that spoke to his parents, Argentine natives. His father, Pablo, represented the Argentine national rugby team. His mom, a stud field athlete himself, so field hockey, excuse me. It's no surprise that we're seeing what we're seeing from Ben-Ha. They said in terms of getting to see it, though, it's unthinkable. They cannot even wrap their brains around their 18-year-old son scoring a goal, and then Messi's the one to congratulate them. The reality hasn't sunk in. I loved seeing Inter Miami put this one out where it started for Cremaschi, where it's been, no surprise, a soccer ball on his foot, wanting to be a professional player himself. But I think the most cool thing, I guess you can say, when you look at his story is his path, right? In 2020, he was a U16 MLS Next MVP. He was playing for Weston FC. Inter Miami saw him, brought him into the academy. He signed a contract, now is starting regular minutes against or alongside. And as we see his school report here, you see his birthday. That might be the most shocking thing. 2005. I mean, when I think back to what Taylor Twellman was doing in 2005, I think I saw scoring 17 goals, second highest total with the New England Revolution. Mo Adu, I believe you were at Maryland, overachieving, winning a national championship. I mean, kind of hard to believe what we were all doing.
Hold on.
Then.
You won a national championship, but I won MVP of the league. Which one do you want?
Hey, I'm a team player, baby.
Yeah, I'm not. You know that. You've hung out with me for 3 weeks. There's me in team.
There's also a T, isn't there?
Yes, there is, kid.
T for Taylor.
You won a national championship? Gosh,
Come on,
darn it.
man. Come on now.
You did do something at Maryland. I didn't.
Must be a dream for Benjamin Cremaschi to be playing with his idol, Lionel Messi, and having so much success in doing so. Meanwhile, Charlotte FC tonight, they are the latest team to try to be the villain, to try to be the bad guy in this Miami movie. Dallas couldn't do it. They were close. Atlanta, no. Orlando, no. Cruz Azul, no. Karol Swiderski and Charlotte, the Davids, as we said off the beginning of this broadcast. What can Karol Swiderski do tonight to help Charlotte try to be the first team to knock off Miami?
Continue the form he's in. 4 goals his last 6 games. That doesn't include the 2 assists, as you just saw on the graphic in Leagues Cup. I don't know what his best position is. I've said it since he's come into Major League Soccer. I often watch him play. He looks like a square peg in a round hole, but that doesn't mean he's not a good soccer player. He's a good soccer player. He's got a great sense of timing when to get into the final third, how to play into the pockets. He's got a real good left foot, the ability to score with both feet. He's good on set pieces. But Mo, he's also surprised me a little bit with his ability to create chances. He'll get on the end of things when crosses get wide, but he also can deliver that final ball where you look at him and say, wait a minute, he's not a natural 9. He's a very good soccer player. I just don't know what his best position is.
Yeah, we were talking off camera. The intrigue of seeing him get some more minutes with a proper striker, the likes of Patrick Agyemang off the bench potentially, I think would be really, really intriguing for this Charlotte FC side. But going forward, I agree with you. I think he does so well at dropping deep, but against this Inter Miami team, then that means you need runners in behind.
Absolutely.
So that puts more importance and puts more stress either from a wider area, Ben Bender on one side, Kamil Jóźwiak on the opposite side, or through the middle. Now, if you leave too many runners, if you get too much taken out of that midfield, transition is where Inter Miami can absolutely hurt this team.
You hit the nail on the head. They've got to have a vertical threat if he drops in. Otherwise, when everything's in front of Christoph and everything's in front of Kamal Miller, that's easy pickings. Neither center back really wants to track into the channels, track into the seams. I think Swiderski's got to be a little bit more disciplined tonight in making sure that both center backs are occupied. They've had a great signing in Ashley Westwood, in my opinion. A midfield general, but also someone that can bypass the lines with the ball at his feet. He has surprised me a little bit how quickly he's adjusted. Now, you could also say, and some would say at home watching this, they've also given up the most goals in Major League Soccer during the regular season because someone's not next to Ashley Westwood to be an old-fashioned stopper But if he's on the ball, Mo, I think he's a good enough player that he can open up the game. I think Juszczyk, I think Bender, they got to make sure they're in good spots when playing off of Westwood tonight.
I agree. I think his role is not just in going forward, but it's also being disciplined. Because as you mentioned, they're going to get midfield runners. You see the connection between whether it's the three and this triangle here. These triangles can be created all over the pitch, but it has to be collective press.
Yes, it does.
And he wears the armband, but it's more important that he's a vocal leader, that he starts the press in terms of organizing and encouraging players to go on and push forward, but he's also got to be careful. Because one of the best traits that we keep talking about with Sergio Busquets, line splitting passes. So if there's one man who's not in tandem when they go and press, it's the team that likes to be a high pressing team. They like to be aggressive. If there's just one player who's caught ball watching for a split second, that opens up the game, and that has you now turning and running 60 yards back towards your own goal.
I'm glad you used that video too, because it doesn't matter who the three are, who the four are. It's hunting in packs. You've got to hunt them in packs, which means that guy, Bronico, he better be on point, because if Westwood gets caught, and I think it's going to be human nature to get caught at times trying to play, trying to be the release of pressure, well, then someone's got to be wary of who? The guy that walks more than anyone on the face of the earth, but still scores goals in Lionel Messi. So if Westwood leaves that position centrally, I think Bronico at times, because our field's going to go forward,